And remember, nobody outside of Grant or Stewart has won a main event tonight, which also means everybody who has won this year has won on a Yamaha. Here we go. Start of the main. Michael Lessie gets the whole shot of the 800. Stewart is right there with him, and here comes Reed from third. Stewart waits no time and puts the number 7 solidly into the lead. Reed comes challenging back from the inside. Can he get around to Lessie before the next corner? He's got him. So now Reed goes after Stewart.
This is what we've been waiting for all season since that crash at Anaheim 1 that set Stewart back in the points, is to have Chad Reed and James Stewart 1-2 at the beginning of the main. This is it. Chad Reed has definitely been off the pace. Let's see if this start, which has been the best that he's had since the opening round, can motivate him to challenge James and to push James Stewart.
Brock Hepler on the number 60. His first race back after a season of injury finds himself sitting in third. Great news for the Yamaha rider. Now Reed getting his momentum going, trying to find the rhythm he so desperately needs. He told me earlier today, Jeff, he says, I know where the weakness is in James Stewart. I just have not been able to get close enough to him to pressure him into making the mistake with that weakness. I said, what is that weakness? Can't tell you.
Last time around, Stewart was 1.6 seconds up. This time around, Stewart is 2.2 seconds ahead. So Stewart, 46.1, Reed a 46.7. So he's about a half a second a lap faster. Chad Reed cannot waste any time. He has to close that gap. If he does that, that will apply the pressure to James Stewart. That is what Chad Reed has to do. Chad Reed has to do is to try to pressure Stewart into a mistake.
The only time this year we've really seen these two ride bar to bar and really challenge each other was at Anaheim 1 before the big crash that the two had that took Stewart out of the race. The only time he didn't win a race this year, where he ended up finishing 19th at Anaheim. Hepler still holding on barely to the lead as he bobbles coming out of that corner, and here comes Andrew Short on the number 29 Honda. He gets around the 800 of Alessi. That puts him to fourth. Now he goes after Hepler, makes contact, down goes Hepler. Short goes into third, and Hepler, who is having a great ride in his return to the series, now finds himself face down in the dirt. Andrew Short, a heat race win earlier tonight, his first of the year. Feeling that momentum, and he finds himself in a podium position here. 4 laps completed. Stewart 2.5 seconds out in front of Reed. Alessi, there you see him on the 800. He's in 5th. Kevin Windham on the number 14 Honda rides along in 5th position. Behind him, Ryan Villapoto. Aaron talked about him not making the main event just a week ago. The first time in his entire professional career where he did not transfer to the main. And all of a sudden, Villapoto is 6th here tonight. James Stewart continues to lead, Jeff, but he's having issues as well.
Watch this section. James Stewart triples onto the tabletop. Off, off. That is so fast. 2 riders did that in practice. Josh Grant, James Stewart. Nobody has done it since then. Stewart saved it for the main event. Waited till now. This is the section right here. Comes across. Triples on. That is absolutely flying. Stewart now about a second faster than Reed, so that section's worth about a half a second a lap. It's going to be real tough for Chad Reed to catch up as he's 4.3 seconds behind Stewart now.
Kevin Windham is catching up to Michael Alessi. There you see Alessi in yellow on the Suzuki. Windham on the Honda. Finished second in the points just a year ago to Chad Reed. Came into the season as a title contender, preseason favorite. Finds himself fighting over 4th here tonight. The season has not gone the way that Kevin Windham would have liked.
No, and we haven't talked about Kevin Windham much all day, but as a veteran does, when it comes time for the main event, Kevin Windham is definitely around here. He's right in the mix for this podium spot.
Ryan Villapoto on that number 2 Monster Energy Kawasaki. He's got Davey Millsaps closing in from behind on him. Millsaps won the last chance qualifier. Looked like he was going to maybe win his heat race. Instead, crashed, had to go to the LCQ, and is working his way up into a good finish here in the main event. And look at Villapoto trying to get inside of Wyndham. Wyndham puts that rear tire up in his path and blocks any attempt.
And what an interesting battle. This is a rookie versus our oldest veteran. It was in the mid-90s when Wyndham first started racing Supercross. Just an incredible battle here between these two riders, and such a huge gap in age.
Kevin Wyndham, arguably one of the most naturally gifted riders out there. Very nice riding style, one of the prettiest to watch. The way he rides that big Honda, but Villapoto a little quicker here tonight as he gets him in that corner, and then Wyndham using the veteran skills to get back to the inside. Can't get it done, switches to the outside.
Wow, such close racing here in San Diego. Villapoto really trying to hold a tight line, and Wyndham had the opportunity to really push it in there, but...
And now Wyndham has to deal with Millsaps as Davey starts to close in. Millsaps looking to the outside. These two Honda riders trying to settle the fight for this position. This is a position down for 6th. Millsaps trying to set himself up to the inside, right alongside of Wyndham. They come side by side out of that corner, through the rhythm section, and Millsaps, the rider out of Georgia, now finds himself in 6th.
And what has happened with Millsaps here in the last 2 weeks, he really has got a fire lit, and he's doing something with it. Beginning of the season, he was really having a tough time even breaking inside the top 10. Now, he's putting on a great ride, well inside the top 10 and working his way forward.
Here's James Stewart, a pretty flawless ride tonight here in San Diego as he's going for his 6th straight win. It'll be the 7th straight victory for Yamaha this season.
Well, and the interesting thing about that is if they finish up like they are now, it will put him in a dead tie with Chad Reed, but James would be the virtual points leader by the fact that he's won more main events. Well, he's won a main event and Chad hasn't.
What does this do to Chad Reed and James Stewart mentally as far as this championship is concerned, Jeff, as we reach the halfway point? If it ends up finishing this way, headed to Atlanta next week.
Well, James Stewart definitely has the confidence. Look, he's tripling onto that tabletop, scooting off the next one. That's just incredible technique there. But for Chad Reed, that's really going to be that's going to kill his confidence, because here he had the opportunity.
James Stewart working his way through traffic. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to San Diego. Welcome back to Monster Energy AMA Supercross from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. Ralph Shaheen, Jeff Hemming, and Aaron Bates with you. Battle on the racetrack that we're watching right now is for 5th position.
And that's Millsaps, 18, on the red bike, the Honda. He just took 5th position from Michael Lessie, who had that great hole shot and is now held on for 6th. Millsaps working his way up. Just a great ride here tonight. He's been on fire. Remember, he had that really nasty crash in the heat race through this section that he just went through while he was leading. Had to come back through that LCQ. So to be inside the top 5 on such a rough night, Millsaps is doing a great job.
Through the rhythm section here, and Millsaps just looking stronger and stronger as this night progresses. You got to wonder, Jeff, if he hadn't crashed in that heat race, he would have gotten a better gate pick. Might have helped him with his start. Might have been different.
Possibly, yes.
Let's go back and take a look at a progressive hole shot replay.
And this is one of the most intense moments in Supercross, where you got 20 of the best riders in the world wanting that hole shot, and it's Alessi who just manages to squeak around, grab the progressive hole shot. Ferry's back. Grant was back. Stewart with a little mistake here. That was a lapped rider that got in his way. That's Heath Voss, number 13 on the Honda. There he gets the blue flag. Oh, and Voss is off the side of the track. Wow.
Fortunately for Stewart, you know, Jeff, that's the kind of thing when it's your season, everything goes right in your championship quest. Even when guys are crashing in front of you, you're able to avoid it without a whole lot of trouble. You see the sign, +9. It is a healthy +9, almost +10. The gap between Stewart and Reed, 9.8 seconds right now between the two champions.
Well, and this could change as it gets a little bit tougher for Stewart to get through the lapped riders, but all these riders have a tremendous amount of respect for them. As we take a look at number 26, Michael Byrne and Brock Kepler, 60 there on the Yamaha. Both riders, their first races back from injury. Both riders inside the top 10. Byrne's 9th, or Byrne's 8th, Kepler's 9th. So great rides for both these to come back out here after being off the track for so long. And what's so difficult, Ralph, is that as all the other Supercross riders have been out there getting that race pace down, learning the tracks, getting the flow, these guys have only had their practice and test tracks to get ready.
Well, the big part of that too, Jeff, is the fact that they've worked through the adrenaline. We saw Michael Byrne in his heat race ran exceptionally well. And you can see a lot of that was that adrenaline early on. Now the whole night, the whole progression of the day starts to settle into your body.
Well, and it's interesting with 6 laps to go. Just after the heat race, I got a text from Michael Byrne. He says, I think I got about 15 laps in me. So we'll see where he's at right now, if he can hold on for these last 5.
Well, he's going to lose a position to Hepler here. Brock gets to the inside of the number 60. Byrne tries to get back inside on him and can't hold him off. So move Hepler up to 8th, and Byrne slips back to 9th.
Well, and in this position, both these riders, they've had a great ride here tonight. They want to make sure that even if their stamina for the end of this race is not quite what they want it to be, they need to finish the full 20 laps. They need to build on these great rides that they've had here tonight. Each and every week, you just want to try to get better. So, see Michael Byrne coming across the line in 9th that time around.
5 laps remaining here in San Diego. Long way to go yet in this championship fight, even with James Stewart making, and down goes Hepler, and so the position goes right back to Michael Byrne. He'll take 8th place back away from Hepler as Hepler loses it in the corner, and there goes the race leader by.
Well, and this really has been the MO for Brock Hepler since he became a professional, as he shows a tremendous amount of speed, but he does have a tendency to hit the ground. That's why he's suffered numerous injuries as a professional. Like you said, he's just coming off of an injury right now.
Let's see what happens to him, Jeff.
Triples in there just a little bit too far. There's 3 jumps at the end, and that is some extremely hard ground here.
Aaron?
Well, guys, I've got Brock Kepler right here, back from an injury, and once again injured. Brock, what's going on?
I don't know. I think I got a wrist or an arm. It's hurting pretty good.
Making your way up to the medic unit?
Yeah, I'm going to head up to check it out.
Tough season once again for Brock Kepler.
Oh, you hate to see that, Jeff. Such a nice guy, Brock Kepler. He's trying so hard, just can't fight off that injury bug. Meanwhile, James Stewart, no problems for the number 7 as he's not only taking an assault now on the rest of the field, but Jeff, the next attack for James Stewart is the record book as he just starts racking up the wins and moving up the all-time win list.
Well, he's got a long ways to go to catch that 72 that McGrath has, but, you know, he's definitely on pace here. It looks very comfortable on his en route to 6th in a row, possibly, if he grabs this checkered flag, and that's what you have to do if you want to get anywhere near that, is to dominate the season. Not just be champion, not just win 5 or 8 races, but dominate and win 10, 12, even 15 races a year.
With 2 laps left here in San Diego, if they stay running 1 and 2, well, James Stewart will tie Chad Reed for the points, but as Jeff pointed out, since Stewart has won at least 1 race, this will be win number 6. The actual, if the season was to end today, championship would go to Stewart based on the amount of race wins.
Well, and what's interesting is that both James Stewart and Chad Reed really, it was Jeremy McGrath that they admired so much when they were growing up. Both riders have characteristics that McGrath had during his racing career. Both riders a tremendous amount of skill and technique and speed when it comes to Supercross.
There you see Ryan Villapoto on that green Kawasaki. Just in front of him is Andrew Short on the red Honda. Those two riders trying to settle third place in the final podium spot. And, you know, Aaron pointed out the big crash that Villapoto had a week ago at Anaheim 3. Villapoto only rode this past Thursday, Jeff. Normally these guys ride every day of the week in between races. Villapoto was really suffering. His body hurt from that last crash. It took him all the way till Thursday before he felt good enough to ride. And here is James Stewart working his way to the checkered flag. He's going to take it. 6 wins in a row for James Stewart as he claims the checkered flag in San Diego. Chad Reed will take second, and look at the battle to the line for third, and it's just going to go to Andrew Short, just in front of Ryan Villapoto. But the man of the night